For future, we'd have equal opportunity for immigrants and minorities. We'd have strengthened treaties ensure migrants' rights, humane treatment, and have a shared responsibility among nations. We'd have secure, privacy-respecting data systems between countries, for example a digital ID system with encryption and ethical oversight to track legal status and prevent illegal trafficking, fraud, or identity theft. We'd designate safe travel routes with medical, legal, and translation support centers in every country. We'd make sure everyone has equal opportunity without bias to employment, housing, education, and healthcare. In 30 years, we would have greatly reduced the use of fossil fuels and have massively invested in renewable energy sources such as solar or wind projects. We would promote regenerative agriculture and reduce deforestation while having expanded on reforestation. Most people would be eating plant-based diets and reducing food waste, which we will talk more about later. Circular economy practices like reusing, recycling, and material efficiency would be the norm. In cities, people would be mostly walking, cycling, or using public transport everywhere, and most people prefer to live in mixed-use neighborhoods. All schools would include climate literacy in their curriculum, and all of our leaders and policies would prioritize sustainability.
Traveling more safely and ecologically in the EU. It is clear that electric cars and vehicles will become very common in the future. Renting vehicles is becoming more common. International transportation rental apps or websites. Fuel-powered transportation, especially airplanes. In 13 years, train travel will be completely carbon neutral. Trains will run on electricity. Vehicles move without human physical driving, for example, cars. Safer roads to reduce accidents. Real-time communication between vehicles and changes in the environment affecting traffic increases safety.
In 30 years, we would have expanded protected areas to cover at least 35% of land and waters and have key biodiversity hotspots especially protected from overfishing and pollution. We would support indigenous and local communities as guardians of biodiversity and have their culture and heritage preserved. We would restore degraded forests and wetlands using native species while having a whole EU-scale monitoring network for forest, oceans, and wildlife. We would have mandated biodiversity impact assessments for all major development projects, while all of our educational systems emphasize ecological literacy.
People have a lot of opinions on how they think animals should be treated. This is gonna be my personal view on how I'd hope to see animals being treated in 30 years from now on. For starters, backyard breeders would get arrested. First, I want to open how selective breeding and evolution work. Selective breeding is when a specific trait, as an example, color, is being desired, so humans start breeding that specific color till it becomes the new norm. Evolution is basically the same, but the natural way. Selective breeding is the reason for why, for example, pugs and munchkin cats have a lot of issues. However, the point I want to make is that harmful selective breeding can also be reversed. As an example, we can slowly start breeding pugs out of the unhealthy features like the short snout they're known for, by breeding pugs with longer and longer snouts till it becomes slowly the new breed standard and the norm. In 30 years, most of the breeds and animals that are chronically ill would be at least a tad bit healthier. Now let's talk about registration. By making sure as many of our animals are registered to a place that actually cares about their well-being, we can way more easily prevent, as an example, inbreeding. By having your pet registered, officials have supervision over your pet's medical records, family tree, and achievements, which in short means that we have more proven information about that specific animal, and since we have information about the animal, they're easier to find and identify. So, in my vision of the future, all animals possibly are registered, and the ones without home have at least some place where they can get food to survive and have shelter from weather and if injured.
Food waste is currently a big problem.
it directly affects overconsumption, climate change, and the well-being of nature. But in our vision for the European Union in 30 years, we would have to reduce the amount of food waste. It is very hard to get people to differ from their routines, so getting individuals to stop wasting food would be extremely difficult. But there are ways us individuals can make a difference. For example, when buying food, we should have a clear list of what we need. We shouldn't go shopping when hungry, because that's when impulse shopping happens and that leads to waste. We should favor soon to expire and ugly foods over new and fresh. To ease in our shopping choices, stores should have clear signs to tell us when something is about to expire, and optionally, they should be discounted. Some stores already have tablets attached to shopping carts that shows which items are discounted. Restaurants, bakeries, and stores would be encouraged, if not locally inclined, to both donate edible food to those in need and compost leftover inedible scraps to be later used as fertilizer. Also, large apartment complexes would be encouraged or even inclined to compost. Restaurants, bakeries, and other businesses like them would let their employees pay or take home the food that would get thrown away before the next shift, even if it's fully edible. Another way we'd have reduced food waste is by figuring out ways to sell and use all the aesthetically unpleasant food and produce that will get discarded for their looks. Some great ways we already have, like discounting them at stores, would be more common in the future. Other great ways we could include the produce would be restaurants using them for meals and ready-made foods in stores.